Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, October 3rd, 2016, and we're going to be doing public and premium post videos together for the next couple of days until we can kind of nail down what's happening with Hurricane Matthew. Hurricane Matthew is a powerful, dangerous Category 4 hurricane in the Caribbean that is lifting up towards extreme eastern Haiti, moving basically between Haiti and Cuba over the next couple of days and into the Bahamas. And from there, it becomes a threat for the eastern United States. I've been talking about this since last week and continuing on through the weekend, but I think at this point, for the safety of the public and to reduce any, let's call it hysteria, and to kind of get away from all the model spaghetti nonsense that a lot of people throw out there. And the reason why I want to get away from it is because a lot of people use these models and they don't really understand what's going into them and which ones to trust and which ones not to trust and what the error analysis is. That's why meteorologists go to college. So what I want to do is kind of demystify all this, break down exactly what's happening, what we know, what we don't know, and go from there. That way you, whether you're a premium member, which I always thank you for being a premium member, it's really important to me, and it's really it's an honor, to have someone trust you with the forecasting and to be paid for it. I mean, that's just an incredible honor. I appreciate it. But also let the public know, those who aren't premium members, maybe you want to subscribe, um, what's going on here? Because I think that public safety is the most important thing of all, above anything else, in my opinion. So let's dive into what we're dealing with here. First of all, our upper level low is starting to exit, and as a result, we still are under the influence of marine air mass, but it's not as gloomy. We have temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s over much of the region, lower to mid 60s in the Philadelphia metro. Winds are from the northwest around 5 miles per hour. Those will veer to the north and the northeast as high pressure builds in from the Canadian Maritimes. And this is a very important feature here. Why? Because it starts to set up the block on the eastern United States for our hurricane potential by the end of this week into next weekend. On the radar, not much going on. We have a few areas of low pressure passing to our southeast, our upper level low passing to our northwest, and so we have a few isolated showers rotating through the region. Most locations will remain dry, but don't be surprised to get a little bit of a sprinkle or a passing shower here and there moving through the region. So with that, we're going to have to continue to keep an eye on a quick heavy downpour here and there. But most locations will remain variable cloud cover, maybe a little drizzle from here and there, but that's about it. Now, on the infrared satellite picture, you can see those waves of low pressure passing along the coastal waters of the northern Mid-Atlantic. And notice, even on the infrared satellite picture, notice the movement of the clouds here. This is our western Atlantic ridge, kind of slowing this cold front down, right? And you can see the circulation of that ridge with our trough to the east, trough to the west, ridge to the east, and you have that circulation set up in the mid and upper level portions of the atmosphere. And here's our upper level low kind of weakening and falling apart. Now, this is an important feature here because this upper level low originally, there were some thoughts that maybe it could weaken the western Atlantic ridge. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, but it will enhance the weakness right along the coast, which is kind of a magnet for tropical low pressure systems. It's a bit of a warning sign. So it's something that we definitely have to keep an eye on as this upper level low lifts out and we get a little bit of a weakness right along the coast set up. And then you have this southwesterly flow set up here. So things are starting to evolve here to keep an eye on things. Now, once this upper level low exits, high pressure will generally be in control for the next several days. So for tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday, the Mets game, for example, shouldn't be a problem. Tranquil weather conditions are expected, high pressure in complete control, with temperatures averaging pretty much near normal for this time of year. So let's dive into the data on Hurricane Matthew. Now, Hurricane Matthew is a dangerous hurricane. It's updated as of 8 a.m. Winds are 130 miles per hour. Now, they're down from earlier where they were up to about 150, 155 miles per hour this weekend. This is part of the eyewall cycle, okay, redeveloping. But overall, it's a very powerful hurricane. Whether it's 130 or 150, it's a Category 4 hurricane with pressure of 943 millibars. It's moving north now at 6 miles per hour, and let's say it's not really going to, looks like it's going to bypass Jamaica for the most part, aside from some tropical storm force winds. This is a big thing. This is how large the storm is. The winds, the tropical storm force winds, extend out to 195 miles. This is a very large tropical low pressure system. It's a very large storm. So it's not just where the eye is going to pass, but also where those hurricane force winds extend out to, and they're about 75 miles. So it's pretty impressive as far as the size of the storm, the strength of the storm. So it's not just the track of the low pressure system itself, but also the outside influences extending beyond the actual track of this low pressure system. So I want you to keep that in mind as we look forward to the forecast moving forward. Again, it's moving north at 6 miles per hour, and it's currently, let's say, from Haiti, 280 miles to the southwest of Port-au-Prince, Haiti. So, now that we know that, let's take a look at this hurricane. This is impressive. Now, it's moving due north, a little bit of shear, not much, but a little bit, but that's a very impressive outflow, inflow. This right here was due to convergence of the winds coming in from the Caribbean and around the circulation. The circulation was so strong that it was producing convergence at the surface that leads to a lot of strong lifting and very impressive thunderstorms on the northeast side of the circulation. This is, I find, a sign of a very powerful tropical low pressure system. You don't see this in a lot of tropical low pressure systems when they're this developed. And this is a sign of the strong inflow pattern coming into this storm. And of course, we have a very small eye. It's textbook, a very impressive storm. And these dark grays here, that's cloud tops of minus 80 degrees Celsius or colder. Now, the reason why this is important is because the colder the cloud top, the higher it is in the atmosphere. The higher it is in the atmosphere, the stronger the lifting. So what this is telling us is that this hurricane is producing very strong lifting. It is a very well-developed warm core low pressure system. Obviously, being a Category 4 hurricane, that's really not a surprise. But what it tells us is that it has a lot of potential. Okay? It has a lot of potential to tap in to even more heat energy. And where are my eyes pointing at? Well, let's take a look at the water vapor satellite picture. Obviously, portions of Haiti and eastern Cuba are in some serious trouble. Okay? So pray for them because they're going to need it, because over in these locations, it is going to get pretty nasty in these locations. Then it heads towards the Bahamas. Here's what I'm concerned about as it's moving into this area right here, is that by the time it moves into this area here, first of all, let's set the stage here. We have a very strong Western Atlantic ridge. There was some thought that maybe this tropical disturbance, this weak low pressure system as disorganized, and the combination of that weak low pressure system with this trough could weaken this Western Atlantic ridge, but that's thrown out. That question has been answered, and we are moving beyond that. It is clear that the Western Atlantic ridge is going to remain strong. So with that, there is no doubt whatsoever that Hurricane Matthew is going to take this track. So with that being the case, it's moving into an environment with very warm waters, upper level high pressure under control, not much in the way of shear, has a lot of potential here with plenty of open water to rapidly intensify once again. So if there's any type of idea that maybe the hurricane could weaken a little bit, it's certainly a possibility. With the tropical low pressure systems, you get a little bit of dry air in there. It could certainly alter the intensification potential of this storm. But just looking at the basic setup right now, I'd be concerned if I was in North Carolina, South Carolina, or Georgia at this rate by the time we get towards the end of the week. Okay? Because at that point, you're dealing with a hurricane with the potential for rapid intensification in a very favorable environment with very warm waters. So it's something that we definitely have to keep an eye on. I would not be surprised if we were looking at Cat 4, Cat 5 hurricanes sitting out here to the north of the Bahamas by the time we get to Thursday morning. Then what about our neck of the woods up in the northern mid-Atlantic? Well, this trough here is going to be very important. The timing of this trough is very, very key to this forecast. Because you see, the strength of this hurricane, let's say Cat 5, means that we already have the potential for what we call upper level divergence aloft, basically anticyclonic circulation, which is a hallmark of warm core low pressure systems. So you have that wild card to deal with. If this is a Category 5 hurricane, that's going to influence the progression of the trough that's approaching from the east. And from the west, should I say. And this trough here, the timing of this trough and the timing of the cold front, if it's a little bit too slow, that's going to allow Matthew to ride right up the coast. If it's on time based on all the model guides that we're looking at, then it will basically turn it to the northeast. Now, even if it does that, keep in mind the size of the storm and the amount of moisture with this storm is still going to enhance the rainfall along the cold front. So we're still looking at a rainy Saturday night into Sunday with the cold front passage. But hopefully, if the timing is correct, then this hurricane remains out in the Atlantic. If the cold front ends up being slower, which we'll know this for sure by Wednesday, I'm thinking, based on everything I'm looking at here, if the cold front's moving in slower, that's going to allow this hurricane to track further north. So that is pretty much the bottom line of the questions that we have and the setup that we have for this hurricane as we move forward towards the end of the week into next weekend. The speed of this trough right here and the interaction with Matthew by the end of the week will pretty much determine whether we're just dealing with a cold front passage with some heavy rain or something more substantial driving up the coast as a powerful hurricane moving up towards New York City Metro and New England. Right now, again, the idea is that it curves out just in time, and we pretty much just end up with a heavy rain setup for Saturday night into Sunday rather than a direct impact. But we have to watch the timing of this trough. This is pretty much the most important aspect of this forecast. The trough is slower. We're going to have more impacts from Matthew, and it could be direct impacts. So that's pretty much the bottom line. Regardless of what models you want to look at, it's all over the place right now. That is the basic question in the pattern, and that's basically what we need to watch. So let's dive into the forecast that we have right now that we're expecting. Again, our upper level low exits the region with a few variable cloud cover and a few scattered showers here and there. For the most part, most locations will remain dry. Highs in the lower to mid 70s for today. Overnight, tonight into tomorrow morning, look for variable cloud cover, some fog, and have some drizzle and a few isolated showers. Lows in the upper 50s to lower 60s. Tomorrow afternoon, a few isolated showers are possible. Otherwise, variable cloud cover, highs in the mid to upper 60s with an easterly wind at around 5 to 15 miles per hour. For Wednesday, as we move into Wednesday morning, look for variable cloud cover, some drizzle possible in the morning, followed by clearing skies in the afternoon. Look for lows in the mid 50s, highs in the mid to upper 60s. On Thursday, look for high pressure and complete control with clear skies, lows in the lower to mid 50s, highs in the lower to mid 70s. And here comes Hurricane Matthew. On Friday, Hurricane Matthew is approaching the southeast coast. High pressures in control in our neck of the woods with clear skies. A northeasterly wind around 5 to 15 miles per hour. Lows in the mid to upper 50s. Highs in the lower to mid 70s. And then on Saturday, here comes our cold front. Here comes Hurricane Matthew. This should be a hurricane here. Now, again, the timing here is very important. The idea here is that this cold front forces Matthew back out into the Atlantic. So on Saturday, look for increasing clouds, rain towards evening because some of the moisture from this hurricane is going to be entrained up this cold front. So we're going to look for some heavier downpours, especially Saturday evening into Saturday night. Lows in the upper 50s, highs in the lower to mid 70s. On Sunday, there's our cold front pushing off the coast, and that's pushing Hurricane Matthew out into the Atlantic. Now again, if this cold front's slower, then this low pressure system will be able to try to make a run right up the coast. Right now, it looks like the cold front's going to be just fast enough with rain in the morning followed by clearing skies in the afternoon, lows in the lower to mid 60s, highs in the mid 70s. And on Monday, high pressure and complete control with clear skies, lows in the mid to upper 50s, highs in the mid to upper 60s. That is your forecast discussion for today. Thank you for following NYNJPA Weather. We'll be doing these types of forecast discussions all the way on through the end of the week until we get a pretty good idea of exactly what we're dealing with Matthew, so that way you are ahead of the storm. As always, thank you and stay safe out there.